at Morning Magic. It is Special Guest Friday, and it's special indeed. We welcome Antonio Ciccolini, who joins us originally from Malden, called Beverly home now, and you serve on the Somerville Fire Department. Did I get all that right?
Tewksbury. Live out in Tewksbury.
What did I say? Beverly again?
Again.
You're covering all of Massachusetts very well.
Who's
today.
Beverly anyway? Get Beverly in here.
But I love it because you can go to different towns. It's
It
great.
says Tewksbury right there on the piece of paper, and I just can't read my own damn writing. I apologize. Tewksbury. Well, we broke the ice with that. Hey, this is a great story. So what led you to become a firefighter? Let's start there.
So when I was younger, I was guilty as charged. I was always in the back seat of my mom's car, rubbernecking on the highway, just watching the accidents. And now I'm cursing those people out.
Get out of my way! We got the siren on.
Exactly. But now we had a fire on the block, and I saw the firefighters going into the house and bringing somebody out, and that just lit the fire under my. And
it inspired you to want to do it.
You can say ass if you want. We can't, but you can.
And that's what led me to wanting to do that.
That's great. Was that in your family, firefighters?
No, I'm the first.
Okay.
One and only. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you get nervous when the alarm goes off?
At first, definitely.
Like
my first year in, yeah, absolutely.
When the alarms go, do you know that it's because I know a lot of firefighters, you guys do the medical calls too.
Yes.
So do you know ahead of time if it's medical or if it's a big fire? Do you you know all of it before?
Yeah, they'll give you an announcement over the vocal arm, and they'll be like, oh, it's a medical.
So you get the details ahead of time.
Absolutely. It's not 100% accurate. At times.
Okay, yeah.
You can go there for one medical and it'll be totally something different.
Sure.
They'll give you a description of what's going on at that call.
And have you ever gotten, like, I know you can't say what maybe you can say, what is the most, like, unreal, like, you would not believe situation that we have ever gone into, where it's not serious, but kind of silly serious a little bit?
Silly or...
Just
the
like,
one
where
I was most shocked was I was on the back of a tiller. Do you know what a tiller is?
No, what's a tiller?
So it's a fire truck, a ladder truck, where the guy is driving in the back as well.
Oh, yeah. Where kind of the back kind of swings around one side or the other. They're usually very, very long.
Very long.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to a pedestrian hit by a car, elderly woman. So we're going there, and that generally brings a fire engine and a fire truck and the chief. So we're going there, and I'm the last guy. I'm way back in the truck there. So I get off, and my colleagues, they're already at the patient, and they're like, "Oh, she only speaks Italian." So I know Italian.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's another whole nother thing. Okay, all right.
So enough to get by. I wouldn't say I'm.
But that's great.
A translator at a courthouse, but enough to get
it's more
by.
than us.
So like Antonio, she only speaks Italian. So all right, I'll get up there. I get up there, and she's face down. Face is kind of covered up by her sweater, and I get leaned down. I'm like, "Senora, you okay? You okay?" And it's my grandmother.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What?
So it's actually my wife's grandmother, but instead of saying grandmother-in-law,
oh my God,
I say grandmother.
Was she okay?
She was hurting. Okay. She was at that time. She was 93, I think, or 94.
Oh my
God.
Yeah. Wow. And when I say she got hit by a car, she got run over, run over. She was. In some trouble.
Yeah.
She was in some trouble. Broken bones, pretty good laceration, going down her bicep.
But I imagine looking up and seeing you. Talk about, if anybody in the world she would want to look up and see standing over
there's
her.
a language barrier, so she's scared that she can't get what's wrong, what's going on,
Yeah.
So she's scared already. And she said that. She mentioned that. She's like, the one thing that eased me was that you were there.
You were there, I bet.
Able to
her
translate
face is
everything.
She's probably like, oh my God.
Boy,
But
that's when you remember.
I broke down.
I bet.
I broke
bet.
down right on the spot.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to be kidding me.
I would be like that every day, even not with family members. I don't know how you guys do it. I really don't. My husband's a police officer, but I know, like, I just I'm qualified to just be here in this studio and not do anything that revolves helping other people.
Doesn't it reframe what we do? It's like, okay, time to play some Britney Spears.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Special Guest Friday. Doesn't matter where the guests are from, whether they're from Tewksbury, Beverly, anywhere in between. Our guest today calls Tewksbury home, Antonio Ciccolini, who joins us. Hey, welcome. It's great to have you with us.
It's a pleasure.
Having a great conversation about... do people have a lot of questions about firefighters? Everybody thinks they know because they watched Emergency when they were a kid. Or ER, Chicago Fire, or whatever. What do people get wrong most about firefighters?
I know Joe Schmo from Beverly Fire Department.
Yeah.
You know, like, do you know this guy from?
They assume you know everyone.
They know. Yeah. They think that I know every firefighter.
It's a big department.
Yeah. It's I don't know everyone from every fire department.
I got one more. What about the cooking? What's it with the chili? What's it with the fire department and always making chili on TV? They're always making a pot of chili. It's like, take it off the stove.
It's like a staple, right?
Yeah.
We actually had a chili cook-off one time.
Did you?
And there was like 3 or 4 guys that were claiming to be the best, and we had a secret ballot and everything.
Wow!
Like within
feelings
your
were hurt. Yeah. Feelings
Lives
were hurt
ruined.
that day.
Friendships broken. Feelings were hurt. Yeah, it was.
But yeah, it's a big deal.
Is there a designated person that does the cooking, like
No,
one, or is it everybody?
I mean, everybody has their forte, you know.
Okay.
But in my group, my house, we lucked out. We got quite a few cooks that somebody usually cooks and steps up once a day, once a shift. If you're listening, guys, what's for dinner tonight?
I was just going to ask you, like, what do you guys usually have? I mean, what's the favorite meal, or what's the easy stuff? Probably big stuff.
In my house is 10 to 12 guys, so it's a big meal. It's quite
that's a lot of people.
Undertaking to be the cook that day. But there's chicken pot pie, there's chicken palm, there's chicken francaise, there's American chop suey.
I could eat that right now.
Is there somebody in the house when it's their turn to cook? You're like, oh no, not
me.
You're that guy.
Oh, really?
I dislike cooking. But
really?
Yeah. I don't like the pressure of it. And
I'm with you.
I'll do it if they request my plate.
Yeah,
that's it. No.
Hey, you had a couple years in the Navy. I want to ask you about that. Four, in fact. Tell us about your naval career.
So from 02 to 06, I was in the Navy. I went to Great Lakes for boot camp and was stationed out in Norfolk, Virginia, attached to VAW 126. It's a early airborne squadron with the E-2C Hawkeyes. It's a big, ugly bird with a big dish on the top of it.
They go super high, right?
Super high.
Really
it's
high.
more like comms than anything. Everybody thinks it's a spy plane. It's really not. It's just mainly comms, communications between all the pilots in the area.
You're an electrician and work to keep those in the air.
Keep those up in the air, right? And we're on USS Truman when we went out on deployment.
Well, how long was your deployment on the ship?
I have close to 11 months out on sea.
So, real quick, what are the top couple things about that life that we might not know? What's it like being on an aircraft carrier?
Especially on the deck, you're always looking over your shoulder. And I work night checks, so that's even more.
You're out there. Are you tethered to a?
No.
Well, you're just walking around.
You're just walking around.
God.
There's lines on the deck that you know where to step and where not to.
I would not be on those lines.
I think it's a yellow line. If you pass the yellow line, the air boss will let you know.
What are you doing out there?
Step back. He'll get on the Vogue and scream at you and probably call you up and chew you out a little bit. But and the sleeping quarters weren't any better. They're right below the deck, so every time they're coming in, you're hearing them.
You're hearing it,
trying to sleep, but you're hearing them coming in and taking off.
Yeah,
it's loud. It's very loud. It's cool for 2 weeks, but then after that, you're like, all right, get me off this thing.
You're you're so
very
calm
chill, right?
and relaxed. Everything that you have done is, I am a nervous wreck. I would be a ball of everything. Like that's so impressive to me.
But Kendra, if you're in this situation, I think
I'd
adjust.
eventually have to
I
calm
think,
down?
Yeah, you'd have to adjust to the situation. I mean, you don't have a choice.
It does make me reevaluate my life choices.
That's
Like, what are we
impressive,
doing here,
man.
man? This is it really is impressive. More with our special guest, Antonio Ciccolini, who joins us. He hails from Tewksbury, serves in the Somerville Fire Department. More coming up. It's Morning Magic. It's also special guest Friday. Our special guest is special indeed. Antonio Ciccolini, who is a lieutenant in the Somerville Fire Department. You've had and it's still going on, but I mean, you've had a very exciting life, it seems.
Yeah, a little bit.
A couple of years in the Navy aboard the USS Truman. Just your deployments, your time as a firefighter, both in Malden and now in Somerville. But you also shared with us sort of a time in your life that wasn't all like glory and sunshine and a little bit of a rocky time. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So during my time in the Navy, I was diagnosed with stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. That's where I feel that the Navy saved my life financially, physically, all the above, you know.
How did that, if I can ask, how did that present itself? Were you just not feeling well and started to get...
So at that time, I was, and still am, unfortunately, if the pain goes away, I'm good to go, you know, and the pain would go away. Every other month, the pain would come back stronger, harder. I remember... just sitting down at the movie theater, I couldn't even sit down because my back was throbbing. That's where the pain was. The majority of the pain was the left shoulder blade, and I was like, that's it. I got to go to sick call, you know. And another thing that's unfortunate is in the military, it's almost frowned upon to go to sick call.
Right, tough it out, rub some dirt on it. Yeah.
Exactly. Don't go to sick call unless you're dying. Well.
It turns out you were dying.
I was dying, so I went and test after test after test. Came back with cancer. Yeah.
You know, even in the best of circumstances, like we were talking about this off the air. We're here in New England. There's healthcare nearby, and if you get insurance and access to care, that's a good thing. How the hell do you get diagnosed and treated on an aircraft carrier? What happens there?
I was actually transferred to another squadron that was a land base, VAW 120. Same aircraft, it's just land based. You don't go overseas at all. So from there, I went to Portsmouth Naval Hospital, and that's where I was treated. And that's where I got my clean bill.
And how's your health now?
Good. I joke about it, but my oncologist broke up with me last year. She was like, I don't want to see you anymore.
That's
You're
a
all
good
good to
breakup,
go.
though.
I'm like, oh, thanks.
Oh, that's great.
I was like, you sure? You sure?
Yeah. But that's got to be kind of a life-changing set of circumstances. At the time, you're feeling like this. You're on that carrier. You're out. Yeah, you're out. Basically out at sea, no family.
Yeah. It was tough. I had good roommates at that time, though, where they checked up on me and took care of me, drove me there.
Helps to have a support system like that. You know,
Absolutely.
Every little bit helps. God, you have experienced and gone through, and every day, every day has been like an adventure for you, and you are basically now prepared for anything and anything that could come at you. I feel
appreciate that, Kendra.
You know.
Well, that's what you want when the firefighters walk in the door. You don't want them to be like, oh, I've never seen this one before.
Right. But you've literally experienced like everything on the spectrum. It's unbelievable. Wow. And to be still going at it and moving forward with a positive attitude, I think is huge. I don't think a lot of people can't do that. So good on you for being able to do that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Antonio, you had a couple of insights around the time that you were sick that you wanted to share.
Yeah, I wrote this when I was given the clean bill from my oncologist at that time. It pretty much just a small story of how that came to. So after getting into the doctor's office, I waited for my oncologist, and the doctor enters, and I impatiently ask if it was good news, and the conversation goes like this. Well, Mr. Ciccolini, I have good news for you. Now, when she said this, I thought the cancer had shrunk, or I had 2 to 4 more sessions to go through. But she doesn't say that at all. She says nothing like that at all, actually. She says something like this. Mr. Ciccolini, the results came back completely negative. You are now cancer-free. At first, when she said this, I was taken back. Then I was extremely overjoyed. I'm not going to lie, I had to fight back a few tears. What I wanted to do more than anything was just to hug the doctor and not let go. I couldn't even look at her because I knew I'd break down. I just kept looking down at her feet as she sat across from me. I just kept thinking to myself, thank you to God over and over again. And I'm not even a religious person. I kept saying to the doctor, that's good. That's good. I was just so happy when I heard the 2 words cancer-free. I felt a huge load lift off my shoulders. I left the office and headed to my way down the hall where I had to catch an elevator to get to the garage level floor. I opened my flip phone and I desperately tried turning it on, but through the cinder block walls,
They
it
don't
was
work in the
impossible.
hospitals.
No.
Yeah, they don't work. Yeah.
Just wanted to tell anybody and everybody what just occurred. The doors open to the elevator and I walk in and there's a Marine dressed in uniform. Doors close in front of us and we stand there in silence, waiting to get to the garage level floor. As seconds passed, I couldn't hold it anymore and I had to tell somebody, so I told him. I'm sorry to bother you, but I just got my results from my PET scan and just found out that I'm cancer-free. The guy smiled at me and shook my hand and said, congrats. The doors open, we walk our separate ways. He went left and I went right. And that's the name of my story. He went left.
Wow.
Right.
That is really, really powerful stuff.
Thanks for sharing that. I think that's very inspirational for a lot of people listening too, that maybe at the beginning part of that journey, and maybe that helps them, think about it in a positive way to get through it. So
Well, and if we're being honest here, I mean, so many people, so many families impacted in one way or another by cancer. Might have been a different type of cancer than what you had, but it just affects so many people.
Yep.
It really has.
I appreciate you sharing that. Antonio
Thank you.
Ciccolini, our special guest Friday, Magic 106.7.